and welcome to another episode of DioTalk. I'm Dio. Let's talk. I got multiple guests today. They're all talented in their own way. Ladies and gentlemen, good warm welcome to Nick Espinosa, Steven Ansaldi, and the great Michael Mathis. Welcome to the show.
What up?
What's going on?
Wow, I feel honored. I got all you guys here today. All right, gentlemen, so today's topic is mental health. It's not an easy topic. You know how we guys refuse to talk about our feelings. But I think with four men here that we can make some sense of all this, right?
That is right. I
think so.
So, like, you know, I in the transition of the weeks passing before I made this happen, I've just been looking at some informations regarding mental health and speaking to some people. Like, if you follow me on DioTalk _ on Instagram, I posted a video where there's a TikTok video, right? And where a woman says something about a man's feelings and whatnot, and then it shows a flash clip of a man speaking, talking about that if you see us, you know, down and not talking and whatnot, I can't remember the exact words, but it's basically the gentleman, he says in the video, he submitted himself into a clinic because he wanted to commit suicide. He explained that as a man, we stay quiet, we don't talk about anything. And then when we do try to talk about feelings, especially if we have a significant other, they tend not to take our emotions serious. Have any of you guys had to go through that? Go ahead, Nick.
All right. So first and foremost, actually, I want to announce I did my first therapy session last Saturday.
Woo! Man, congrats.
So
Big congrats.
And it was dope because my therapist, she's a woman, and she thought I would have an issue talking to her because she was a woman, and I broke it down to her, and I said, honestly, I would actually prefer to talk to you. And she's like, why? I said, because us as men, we really can't sometimes get to express everything we want to say to women in general, you know, because sometimes we're looked at, you know, if we try to express too much, or if we have too much of the sensitive side, you're just a pussy.
Yeah.
And like plain as, that's how they look at it as. So my first session with my therapist was great. I enjoyed it. Now, to answer the question, yes, I experienced it in a previous relationship before. My former significant other, I'll say that because I don't want to put her on blast, whatever the case may be. But we used to deal with each other, and it was things that in that video, I watched that video and it had me cracking up because it was so true. It was things that I sat there and told my former significant other about, like I would never tell nobody else, things like that. And boy, I tell you, that first argument, oh, I was like, motherfucker, no, you, what? So I told you in confidence, and you gonna say this shit to me? Like, and it just got thrown back in my face. And I'm talking about, like, you know, certain secrets that you wouldn't say. Like, all right, for example, I'll say this because I don't have no issue saying this. My father owned it, and he got clean, and he's been successful ever since. But my father, he had a drug issue before. And so I really never associated with him. And, you know, I told her about that, the reason why I didn't, this, that, and the third. Next thing you know, we had a family event, and I guess she may have had a little too much to drink. And she just blurted out talking about my dad and his drug addiction and shit. And I'm looking at her, I said, I told you that in confidence. That was between me and you. You know what I mean? And her sister even looked at her like, yo, like, son look like he about to slap the shit out you. Not saying that I would, but that's how angry I look. I'm looking at him like, damn, I said, can I tell you any? I said, then I started thinking about the other things that, you know, I told her, because we're in a relationship and we've been in a relationship for more than a year. So, you know, I got comfortable enough to be able to tell her certain things. And then like nearly everything I told her in all our arguments got thrown right back in my face.
Man.
And for me, it personally made me shut down a lot. And like, I'm not gonna lie, with women I deal with now, I really don't tell them shit no more. I just, you know, just play it cool, lay back. I'm not gonna say she herself made it ultimately worse for me, because I did experience that with other people too. And then overall, like just when women do that, I'm just like, yeah, you know what? I'm not even gonna take the chance. Like, you know what? Hey, she may not throw that shit back in my face if I tell her something that's really bothering me, or whatever the case may be. So definitely experienced it. It sucks. It sucks bad, real bad.
I've been victim of what you're saying, and inclusive in the video I posted. They, and not just with women, but in general with friends or so-called friends, right? You tell them something confident, and they go and open their mouth like it was never confident, right? Or if you're in a relationship, they'll, in an argument, they'll throw it right there in your face. And you're stuck like in stupid, like what does that have to do with our argument? It's two different things.
Like you jump around, right?
Yeah.
Jump around.
Like I grew up in a bar. My grandparents, I think I've said this numerous of times, right? I grew up in a bar, and there was no such thing of talking about feelings or nothing like that. That word feelings, like it didn't exist. Like, people will go to the bar, and the way they were handled, the way they felt was, one drink after another. But then when they got totally wasted, they would start breaking down and cry, talk about either the kids, their upbringings or their wife or whatnot. And as soon as you try to talk about your feelings, they looked at you like you're not a man, right? You're not, you don't grow a beard, you don't cut wood and go hunting, right? So they quickly almost like discriminate you for trying to actually be real and talk about how you're feeling. Other than me, how you guys experience something like that? Mike?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think it's crazy that you say that, because it's been on my mind. Whether, it's past relationship, future, whatever. It's crazy how we give women, I guess this is nothing offensive to women or anything, but we give them women the right to express their feelings just because they're having a period. Oh, I'm emotional this month, that one time in a month, because my period. So I can throw a tantrum, be sad. I can cry just for no reason. I can feel this way for no. But what about men? We have 12 months where we don't have a period, but we can't feel anything. We can't, and I feel like I just want to thank y'all for, having me on here, because normalizing this is really going to help. And I hope, anybody watching this, it's going to help, because this is something serious that we really need to normalize as men. It's okay to have feelings. It's okay to talk it out, whether that's with the bros or whether that's with the girls or anything. But back to your statement, definitely been in a situation where it's, oh, I'm talking to this guy or this group. If I brought up my emotions or anything like that, all of a sudden I'm less of a man because I brought up my feelings or something like that. And I think that's crazy that we live in a society that it's like that. But if a woman brings up her emotions or anything like that, it's completely fine. She's supposed to. But as men, we're supposed to shut down and shut up. I don't think that's right.
I find it like don't get me wrong, right? You look through history, we have a fucked up track record.
Absolutely. Yes.
We have a fucked up track record from relationships to one another as men. It's, just look at history, right? It's no lie. But imagine, or let me try to do the best to paint you a picture. Like, imagine if we could feel able to talk about how we feel. Do the best to come up with these words that can actually describe what we feel inside. How many of those things we could have been prevented, right? How many of those things we could have stopped, right? Like there's men that I'm not gonna say his name, but I had a young friend at a very young age. He was like 10 or 9. His father murdered his mother, right? And because he was jealous. But and that's something that I've always like thought about. Like if he had the right words, if he had the right understanding of these feelings we get inside, that we go through, a better understanding, a comprehension, maybe he wouldn't have committed that horrific act and able to walk away. Maybe because he couldn't, and he didn't know what's bubbling inside. He chose to be this he chose machismo, right? Because that's a word that a lot of females and et cetera likes to bring up, would have prevented it. So he chose that route and lost somebody he loved, lost his kids, and became somebody that nobody wants to relate to in society. Right?
That's crazy. I get it though. I definitely get it. It's just that's just mind blowing. Like, and it definitely can take you there. Because in general, that's like you could take bullying for example. And this is something I talked to my therapist about, and I broke it down to him. I said, well, it's like, for example, bullies. No one likes to get picked on. But when you continue to pick on a bully, they're building up, they're holding it back. The fear becomes anger and then emerges with fear at the same time to the point where you explode. And I tell people all the time, I said, in a bully's mind, if no one's helping them, stopping them from getting bullied, logical sense is if you want to stop the bully, you got to make it disappear, right? So how do you make it disappear? Okay, most likely all the bullies that came out, you seen on the news, you seen the stuff they did and everything, that from continuously being picked on and all that, their mental getting messed up. To get rid of them, you got to kill them. I hate to say it like that, but that's just the truth, because if you kill something, it can't come back and hurt you no more. Mm-hmm. So, like, that mental buildup, it takes a lot of shit to get you there. But that mental buildup that you have and not having the escape to be able to talk about things or express what's going on or getting the help you need and this, that, and the third, it leads to a lot of things. Just like what you said, Theo, like that was very horrific. Hey, that dude probably has so much suppressed depression and negative vibes and energy towards his I'm assuming ex-wife. That was an ex-wife, right? Or was they
were actually together.
Okay, yeah. So all that negative built up, and he was just like, "Fuck, you know what? I'm done with this shit. She gotta go."
What's crazy? Here's a fun fact. I don't mean to interrupt you, right? But a fun fact, and this is even fucked up more, that there were kids living right next to where that guy lived, right? Kids, a family of kids. Years later, I went back like 2 years ago to Puerto Rico, 3. One of the kids that grew up next to that place committed the same act. He was 25.
Wow.
Right? Like that's fact.
That's crazy. That's crazy. That's
You
crazy.
know?
And listen, I want a lot of the reenactment TV shows that I do. I want y'all to really sit down and watch those and listen to what these people did. A lot of the males on it, if you listen to what they did mentally, it was a lot of mental. And I want to say this, and we'll continue on this conversation. I personally feel like mental health is a bigger issue than sometimes physical health. Because physically, I can be the fittest person in the world. I can be the world's strongest man, world's triathlon, 100-meter runner. But if I'm not there mentally, I could be on suicide tomorrow. I could kill myself tomorrow. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
So I feel like, hey, you can be physical.
100%. I agree with
Yeah, it's crazy. It's true.
You got anything to say, Steve?
I think mentally, us as men, like, I'm not speaking for myself, but as for others as well, you know, we're guys, we tend to hold a lot of our feelings back. We do. Then it gets to a point where, you know, it gets bunched up and then explodes. You know, you start saying stuff.
There's actually, I can't remember the exact name, but there's a exact name for that type of anger. Like throughout the years, I've had to go. Well, I've only got an anger management because I was in a fucked up relationship, right? But like I've learned, like I have anger issues. Like it's a tough environment, you know. Like Nick said, bullying. I grew up with a lot of bullying. You know, I ended up fucking them up. You know, but then I got so fucked up that I became the bully.
It happens.
And
it does.
You become the exact thing you hated, right? And that's what even fucks you up even more.
It's because you're scarred.
Yeah. So growing up in that environment, just, you know, sometimes I didn't grow up in a place that gave me a positive reinforcement, right? Like I was different from other kids. You know, growing up, I would grow up with my two other cousins, and one of them, which I love, they were praising him that he's always going to be a baseball player. That he's going to buy my aunt a Corvette. He's going to buy his aunt a mansion and all this shit. And his brother was going to do other good things. But when it came to me, I was told I can't even read a fucking book. You know, it was every other day me walking through the walls. Like I have a saying that walls can listen. You know, and in Spanish, las paredes escuchan. Meaning, like sometimes I would just walk to say to my room or to the kitchen or to the bathroom, and the people that I lived with, you know, me being a child, right? They was just picking me apart little by little. You know, I had no dad, I had no mom, I had no siblings, I had nobody there to help defend me. And sometimes, you know, I was treated poorly. So I had that going on. And then, you know, they didn't understand the drastic measures of the street, right? Going to school, just me having a different vibe was different, right? And, you know, I remember one time I was in science class, I was in 8th grade, and there was this guy named Victor. He was always picking on me. And I like, it's like over there, like you have like kindergarten to 6th grade. I already had a reputation, right, of fighting. But then when you graduate 6th grade, you go to 7th and 9th. So right now you're in like a whole nother place, a whole different school. Nobody knew me, right? From what I known, I was treated or was known as a problem child. So I was like, this is my chance to refresh, rebrand myself, right? But then, you know, the first week, second week, third week, I had this guy always talking shit. I remember in science class, I used to have a lot of long curly hair, right? You shake him, and he pulled my hair, and like automatically, I just right, right here in the mouth, broke his nose. He fell on the floor, and that feeling of all those years being treated like shit just exploded on top of this dude, and it just went on him. I got up. He was knocked the fuck on the floor. His nose broken. I just got up and left. After that, they were looking for me to stab me. Right. So, I just stood in front of the principal's office, stood there until, clock out. I was gone.
That's crazy.
But, I had nobody to talk to. My friends, I love them, but they were barrio friends. They never had my back. I had their back. Not to be offensive, but they were kind of hillbillies.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't want to go to school. The crazy part, they were really smart. They were really good at math, but they didn't want. They all they wanted to do is go to the farm and mess with the pigs and the horses and all this shit. They didn't see nothing more than that. So I had nobody. So that right there, that fight, will liberate. But then again, now shit continues to happen. As a child, get treated poorly, picked on, and continuing, boom, 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 until the next issue occurred. And the next issue occurred, and nobody would sit down and talk to me. My aunt, my aunt would, like my aunt, Didi Iching, she's a woman, she's a lesbian, who taught me how to fight, like box. Right? She told me how to whoop ass. So proud of that. And she was like, "Did you fuck him up?" Yes. Good. Don't do it again. That was the most conversation we had. I moved on.
That's crazy.
Like, did you fuck up? Yeah. All right. Don't do it.
And then,
right there.
Sure. I came one day. This kid just like, I was walking and he, like, all of a sudden I like somebody just pulled my backpack and I just get punched in the eye and my shit was swollen. And I got home one day. She looked at me. "How the fuck did this happen?" She said. Like, "Well, I was just fucking walking. Next thing you know, I feel somebody tugging on my book bag." And I didn't see it as a big thing because everybody used to do that in school, right? Next thing you know, I'm getting a fucking punch in my eye. It's like, you're gonna go get him. I don't care if they're calling from school. I don't care where you see him, but you're gonna go get him. Don't. You better not come back here tomorrow. Even more fucked up than you already are. You gotta get him. And that's exactly what I did. I went and got him. But you see the problem, the circle of violence.
Yeah.
Retaliation.
I could agree. Personally, I'll be honest, I'm not proud of some of the things I've done in my lifetime, negatively wise. I have done some things I'm like, damn, I shouldn't have did that. But, me being younger, certain things I didn't give a fuck. I'm not a fighter. I'm really not.
Oh, you have hearts on your shirt, so you're obviously a lover.
Lover all day. I'm a lover boy. But I'm not really a fighter until I'm actually in a fight, then I'm loving. That's how I try to avoid drama, avoid fights, because I know me. And I'll be honest with you, like, if you hit me one time, my whole goal is to
lay you out,
dog shit out of you.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, I can't hold that back. That's part of the reasons why I do go to therapy, because I channel that, and I always work on just avoiding things. It takes a lot to piss me off, but once I'm pissed off, I'm just like, takes me a lot just to cool down when it comes to certain things, especially if it's just, you know what I mean? And but overall, like, Theo, my similar childhood, like with me, I had to fight my older brother all the time. And when I tell you this, look, my brother, like, I'm not gonna say his name, but his name wrecked hell in the area I grew up in and everything. Like, people know who he was, point blank, plain and simple. And I had to fight this dude nearly every time we got in an argument. That's how I learned how to fight. I mean, I think I only beat him one time, and he whooped my ass about 200 times.
Yeah, it only
But
takes once.
yeah, I'll be honest with you. I never let him forget that. I'd be like, you still know that one time I got you, right? He'd be like, man, you got lucky on that one and this and third. But he's like, you got luck. I'd be like, nah, I'm gonna hold that to you. I said, look, 'cause I ain't gonna lie, I lost a fight or two. But overall, like I said, if I had, like how you say, a better way to express things when it comes to certain things, yeah, I think some of the bad things I've done, I wouldn't have done. And so, all right, I'm gonna be honest with you because I can say it. Like, I robbed a person before.
You were what? You broke
Not
up.
much.
Rob the
Okay,
person.
he said I robbed a person before. And even though for me at the time it was more vengeful because they robbed my little brother, so we went back, beat the shit out, and robbed them and everything. And you know, depending on where you grew up at, certain how it is, that's just what it was. Because if you didn't do anything, you sweet, you a nut, and all this other stuff and things like that. So, me personally, I felt wrong as shit doing that. And that was my first time realizing, I said, damn, yo. I said, even though I believe I'm right and getting this person back, I still felt wrong. I just, like, morally, I just felt wrong. And, like, for me personally, that was like a mental waking up point for me. And that's how I started realizing, I said, damn, you know, all this anger and violent reactions and shit it's not really worth it. And not many people can realize certain things in a mind at a young age when you see it, depending on the area you in, what you used to see and everything, things like that. So, like, for me, when I realized that, that's when I started to change a little bit. And I was like, okay.
Yeah, you gotta go through some shit.
You gotta go sometimes.
Yeah.
Realize. And like I said, I'm not proud of some of the things I've done. And does everybody think I'm this saint? Like, I'm so nice. I'm like, yes, I am. But before
it's like
I became this,
it's like it's like Michael Mathis, right? He just came out with an episode on the 700 Club about this gentleman who was just chilling, right? He was just chilling. He saw, you know, opportunity for some honeys. You know, nothing wrong with that. You know, he was borrowing his sister's car, and you know, the girls pulled up to him and was like, "Yo, slide through." So he slid through. You know, he thought he was gonna get some, and then next thing you know, the guy got fucked up, got robbed, got put in the trunk, and the rest is history. Can you tell us a little bit more about that, Mike?
Yeah. So, I mean, this really happened to the guy. I mean, I feel like, unfortunately, this happens way too much, you know, nowadays, back in the day, whenever, you know. But yeah, it was a situation where you know, the girls, it was a setup. It was a setup from the girls from the get-go. They knew what they were doing. They wanted to get him back over to their house. They got him back over, and they set him up. As soon as he walked in, he had a gun to the back of his head. They robbed him, made fun of him. But he did live. And the reason why it's on the 700 Club, because the gentleman was praying in the back of the trunk, you know, praying to God and everything like that, lived miraculously and everything. But the reason why I think that's so important, especially on a topic like this, is trauma. Everybody has trauma. Everybody has trauma. So everybody has something in their childhood or growing up that has traumatized them or makes them look at another situations differently, whether that's race, whether that's what type of area they're in, and whatnot. So let me get y'all's feedback on trauma.
Shit, trauma. I gotta fucking, I got a whole site of storage of trauma. But like, not even this. Let's take a little a step back. What is trauma, right? Because we you know, as men, we live, you know, like if you're like, if and I'm not saying everybody's like me, but if you're like me, like I do not look back. I don't look back at shit. I don't, you know, one thing that when I came, you know, started living over here, one thing, something that I learned is like men over here love to go back to the exes or some shit like that, or talk to them, fuck with them. And I'm not that person. With that, I do not look back, and you know, I just keep my head down and keep moving forward, keep moving forward. And sometimes I've gone through some shit that I'm still like, my wounds are still not healed. Right? I'm so focused looking for progress that I've yet have to grieve for them. So, you know, so I'm moving forward. I jump for this relationship. I'm carrying that fucking useless dead weight baggage. And it's because I do not know what trauma is. In order for me to know what that is, I got to sit back and talk about that shit. I've been married for 6 years, right? And I had a conversation a week ago with this gentleman here, Nick Espinosa. He was telling me he was looking for a therapist, some help for a situation he had. And that shit like hit me right here in the heart, because I have never heard another male, right? A man like him, like me, say, I need to get help. Will leave me thinking, damn, I want the same thing for myself. Right? And I went through some shit this weekend that, you know, I broke down, and if I would have been recorded, I sounded like a soundboard. and I you know, for 6 years, I finally sat down and tried to explain what I've been feeling for the last 6 years, but then go even further. And, you know, trying to explain to her, you know, I have so much feelings in here, right? And I don't know how to get them out. I don't know how to, you know, I am not a sad person. All my life I've been trying to survive. So the only emotion I really know about, and I'm really aware, right? It's anger. Because that anger has stopped me for opportunities. Even stopped me, you know, ignorant, stupid arguments I've had with my significant other. It stopped me for so many things because I've never known how to dealt with them. And it goes back to trauma, right? So the first thing is educating ourselves. What is trauma? So once we know what trauma is, then it's going to help them identify, right? What is what is wrong with me that's enabling me to become the person I need to become. So going back to Michael Mathis tour right now, go check it out. Question: what do we think about trauma? What is trauma? Right?
Man, I mean,
some deep shit I just dropped, right?
I mean, I mean, you just dropped a bomb on my head.
Mike,
you put the
water bottle
back on me. I mean, what is trauma?
Yeah. Like my
All right.
boy here, right? My boy here doesn't talk, but he listens, right? Steven Ansaldi. You know, Steven Ansaldi grew up in a difficult environment that nobody knew how to understand that man right there. They judged him, they criticized him, fucking, you know, le metieron fuerte.
And I was just a knucklehead as a kid, and I guess to this day, I mean, hold on, give me a second. You just got me for a minute. Hold on. I've gone through a lot in life, and I've experienced a lot in life, but I mean, to me, it feels natural, and it's not natural, but it's because, you know, nobody's really understood how I was, and it's not that I was a bad kid. I was just a ¿cómo se dice? How you say?
He was a hyper motherfucker. He wanted to run, jump, swim if you let him.
Yeah, I was, you know, I was wild. I was wild. And I mean, the older I grew up, the shit that is gotten worse and worse and worse. And then it finally got to an age where I was like, okay, now I'm calm. Which is now. I'm in my late 30s. Why the fuck now? I can't explain my trauma because to me it feels natural. I just don't know how to explain it. Maybe I need help. I'll be the first one to admit, if I need help, I need to go get it. But I've seen a lot of shit. I've gone through a lot of shit. I just don't know how to explain myself.
You know, no. Steven, you did you mentioned a good point there that, like, for you it's normal, right? It's normal.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, the most normal thing is that we know in society is fucking white people. That's why people want to make that white money, people money. That's that good money, you know?
Yeah.
Or we criticize, they're fucked up as us, but we choose them as standards because they're a little bit more organized and know how to act in the street. And the house is just a mess like us. But it you know, perspective, right? Like, you know, every Thursday, growing up, like the end of the month, the DEA used to go where my grandparents had the store. In the back there was a house. It's like a trap house, right? So every Thursday, last of the month, the DEA will show up, M60s all masked, and whoever was walking on that side of the sidewalk, you'll be pushed in. They'll take you. Ray, they gotta go and this town called Mayagüez, to take you out, and hopefully they don't find anything and they could just let you go. Right? For me, that was normal. Right? As time progressed, these people that were like highly influenced in the streets, they started becoming down and becoming drug addicts. So the new norm for me was they would try to now rob every other night the store where my grandparents owned. So they robbed everything. And we find ourselves losing money starting from scratch. Another norm was like every other day, this fat bitch. He's a fucking bitch. I hate that. He's a man, but he's gay. He's a woman. He would go by Joanna. He was a fat bitch who put on a wig, right? And that's not the why, you know, anybody could be, that's not the problem. What I'm about to explain to you is the problem. That I call him a bitch, right? So every now and then I will come. Sometimes I will take the long way from the basketball court, right? And there's this thing called poneras over there. That's where you wait for the bus, right? So every now and then I will come home. I was walking, you know, I was always take down a long way because I had to pass through front of the stores, and I will watch these at one point kingpins, right? That became drug addicts, fucking the shit out of this faggot, this I apologize, not faggot, this feminine man, right? Fucking the shit out of him. He will buy him drugs. He will buy him whatever he wants for as long as they fuck the shit out of him. That became the norm because they did it. They didn't care who was there or who was passing by, or there were kids or not kids. They would do it right there in the public, right there where you waited for the bus, and in the morning you'll find all the bags and the needles that would shoot up and all that shit, right? So that became the norm. How do I know? How do I know if that's a traumatic traumatic environment? If I don't know, that's normal, right?
Yeah.
But this is, at least for me, this is when I realized there wasn't normal, because I had two friends who were poor as fuck, right? And their mother introduced them to that guy. And that guy basically told them, you want to eat? You want to have clothes? You want to have a nice place to sleep? You fucked me and I give you whatever you want. And there was these two kids that didn't know anything about that. And their mother was the one who introduced them to this guy. And they're two kids, two men, right? That they don't never talk about their feelings, right? They're hillbillies, never talk about. And one day I just found them just crying in front of the store. That was one rare night that nothing was happening, and they were sitting in front of the store, and they're both were hugging one another and was just crying. And I was like, "Yo, ¿qué pasa, cabrón? What's going on? What's wrong?" I've never seen them like that. Because there's two kids that never gave a fuck. And they I feel grateful. I'm not gonna mention a name. I don't feel like I betray them, but this story needs to get out. And they trust me because they said I was quiet like a tomb, and don't say shit. And they cried to me the shit that happened. At that moment, I realized that that's not normal. You don't go through that shit. Your parents have never put you in that predicament, right?
Mm-hmm.
So how do you know? So let's go back. What is trauma, and how do you know that you're in an environment that's giving you trauma?
Listen, going back on that question, I honestly think that trauma is an event that affects your way, mindset, or physically or mentally for a period of time. That could be a short period of time. That could be a lifetime. Honestly, that's what I think, because it's crazy. It is absolutely mind-blowing, the stuff that y'all, just right here, just you three gentlemen right here have gone through. I personally am blown away by this because I lived, shout out to my mom, I lived a very sheltered life. Very, very sheltered life. I couldn't imagine half the shit that y'all went through. Excuse my language.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up middle class. Every Christmas I got what I want. I couldn't fucking imagine what y'all went through. So trauma, if you ask me, I think trauma is something that affects you for a long period of time. It could be short, but it affects you where it brings so much negativity into your life or in that position or time frame.
Yeah, and you don't even realize it.
Mm-hmm.
I could honestly remember my first ass whooping in the streets by a kid. I got jumped. My very first fight, I got jumped. I was a kid. I went to karate, took fucking taekwondo. I thought I was fucking Karate Kid.
You thought you
were messing around.
Motherfuckers head off.
Yeah, I was in Hoboken, off of Madison Ave, is it? Somewhere back there. And I remember I would always play because I would go to my grandmother's house, and then my cousin, she would live upstairs on the third floor, and I would go to stay at my grandmother's house, and I would play with the kid next door. I'll never forget his name. I mean, I don't remember his real name, but we used to call him Junito. And we would go outside, and one day we were outside playing. These two older kids come by. They must have been, I don't know, like 12, 13 years old. I was like 7, 8, and they were messing with him. I said, don't mess with him. And the moment I said that, I threw my hands up. I thought I was Karate Kid. Pop, pop. I got hit right in the mouth. I was on the ground. I got stomped on. I took the ass whooping for the kid. And I went home to my cousin on the third floor, and I was telling her, hey, I just got my ass whooped. Like, like I'm crying. I'm a little kid. I'm still a kid. And it's like, wow, what were you trying to do? I was trying to protect the kid. But that day, I could never let that day go. Like I could remember that day. And from that day, I started building more emotions. Now I was angry. And every time I got into a fight, I would relapse to getting my ass, and that caused me to make sure that I wasn't gonna get my ass whooped this time around. You know, but it's just I don't know, it's traumatizing, man. It was traumatizing.
Yeah,
So
man. I had a event. I want to say it was like 1, 2 years. I want to say like a year, maybe so. Here at home, where I'm not gonna say who, but I got my ass whooped, and I don't know how to feel about it because the person was so tall. He just kneed me to my face. He just kneed
dang,
me in my face. So I didn't know how I felt about it. You know, like
wow.
I didn't know how to feel about it because usually every time I fight, we fist fight, you know, but then because he was so tall, you know, uh, yeah, man, I just got knee to the face. But that that event, uh, it did something to me. It went back to that moment I explained brief with my aunt. You better go get him.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, a year, some maybe two, I have in the back of my head, like I became so obsessed. Like he's a habitual creature. I know where he's at 24/7. Habitual creature. He has bad habits. I guess go. I could. He's a pin and a heat in a haystack, and I can still pin him out. You know, and it started driving me crazy. Like one day, he was like a block away. I found it. And I was gonna fuck around with my car.
You wanted that revenge.
You know, one day I was walking. I had my paramedic knife, and it was so easy for me because it's fucked up, but I'm so gangster. I surprised myself, right? I thought about it. I have so much to lose. I have this amazing wife. I have my son, and it wasn't satisfying me, bro. That urge, I needed that. I needed that. He took something away from me, and I needed it back because he was a person I loved. You know, that day I lost a lot. I thought he was my friend. I thought he was my brother. He had a son just like me. I had this connection, but to him it was shit. I all I knew, I needed that back. I needed that, and every time one time I called my wife. So why the fuck are you calling this number? Why are you telling me this? If you do some shit, you need to ditch the car and like. And I just been, it's in, you know, it's the demons that I've it been instilled in me that I'm trying to fight every day. You know, and that's why I started going to jujitsu. That craving started to go down because I was rolling with these fucking blue belts and higher level ranks that would like, submit me. And I needed that submitment, right? Because I needed to know if I'm gonna go out, I'm like an action movie stuff in the 90s. I'm gonna give it all. And I was at peace with myself. You
Go
know,
out when you should.
yeah, and you know, and
Mhm.
sometimes I still struggle with that because I didn't give it all. All I know is it was this fucking burnt ass palm tree that kicked me fucking 3 times in the face and ran. And while he was running, he was saying he was gonna get his dad after me, and he's gonna stab me with a knife. Right. And I still have that in me, and I fight that every day. And I ask him, "Is this worth it? Is this worth it?" And it's I've been instilled in certain lifestyle, right? You know, you knock on this door, you're gonna get something. And that's what I'm trying to stop. You know, that's what led me to creating this platform and where I can try to bring hope, right? Because of these traumas, these identifying what affected me to take these decisions, and able to control and understand these emotions. So I gotta be a better friend to like you guys. So I gotta be a better father. So when my wife, has her days, I can understand her better and not feel like I'm just, as he goes, he's bitching at me again. No, because that's not the way. So, mental health goes deep. It's so important because once you have an understanding, you can help yourself and you become that fucking person you need to be. That future Oscar winner with Mike Mathis, fucking future actor with Nick Espinosa, that fucking first place in Tampa with Aquanomics. And I'm always telling my wife, yo, you're your own worst enemy. Until that day I broke down and she told me, no, you're your own worst enemy. You're holding yourself back. I'm like, fuck.
She's right. She's fucking right.
That's the truth.
Literally.
That is truth. No, that is the truth. We are our own worst enemy, and it took me a while to realize that with myself being my own worst enemy, and I'd be like, damn, like, because I'm not gonna lie, one of my fears is not being successful, not
Preach,
being
baby.
able to do this.
Preach.
I always had that doubt in me, and I'd be like, damn, Nick. You like I be telling myself and I yell at myself, I'm like, no, you gotta push yourself through because no one else is gonna push you there. Like, don't get me wrong, it's great to have support from many people, but if you can't support yourself, you're not gonna.
What you got?
Yeah.
Yeah, you all you got. And I used to struggle with that a lot. Like the last 2 years, I took chances, and trust me, when I say I took chances, I took chances. I'm talking about shit where as though I wouldn't even have 2 homes right now. I mean, I wouldn't be a landlord right now. I wouldn't be in a TV series that's trying to get on Netflix right now. I wouldn't have got a part in a short film if I didn't take certain chances. Like I'm not gonna lie, I held my back so much because me personally, certain things I'm just scared of. I'm scared of failure because I've seen a lot of failure. I've seen a lot of failure in my family. I've seen a lot of failure just in life in general as well. So like with me, every time I've seen it, and I'm just like, damn, you know what? What if you don't make it? What if I don't? And I'm like, and then one thing I always realized, and I remember this old guy I met, he told me that, I said, even if you fail, if you didn't try, it don't count. And he said, you got to put both feet out there and just give it a shot. You don't know what happens, but you still get the experience, and it's part of living. And, me being younger at the time when the old guy was telling me stuff, I'm still trying to figure out, like, what the hell does this mean? What exactly is he trying to tell me? And then when it clicks, and I'm just like, damn, years later, I said, damn, yo, he was really, pushing me to motivate myself. And like, when you go through shit and everything in life, it's hard to stay motivated for yourself. Mm-hmm. Like me personally, for example, a trauma of mine is my mother. I nearly lost her twice in my life. She nearly died. When I say she nearly died, she was this close to dying twice. So anytime my mom gets sick, I get a little depressed. I get scared. I get very emotional. My mother was in a coma for a whole year. And they was close to pulling on the plug, but thank God she woke up. And so for me, it's like when certain things like that, it triggers a lot, and it weighs me down because my fear of, everybody fear losing their mom. Everybody would fear losing their father if they have had a great relationship with them and everything like that. And so, like, for me, my mom, she was my rock. She's my heart. Like, she raised me more than anything. She was my mom and father at the same time, hell of a woman. So for me to lose that and nearly lose it twice, like when she gets sick, it just like, it scares the fuck out of me and it shuts me down. It shuts me down to the point that whatever I'm doing, I'll forget about it. I'll put it on a back burner. And even when my mom, like, if she's back well and everything, I'll be too fucking scared to do it again, because sometimes in my mind I'm thinking, well, damn, I was doing this, getting busy doing this. And then I'm like, damn, but my mom got sick again. And I'm like, all right, well, that shit scared me again. So I won't do that, what I was doing again, because I'll think, well, if I start doing the same shit again, then she might get sick again. It's a weird mental thing that just fucks with me. Even though I know that's not going to happen, but a part of me, it just fucks with me because I'm like, well, damn, like, what if she do get sick again? You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, so some of this shit that I'm not going to lie, I just became a certified personal trainer.
There we go.
Congrats.
Good shit, bro.
I was supposed to do that years ago. I put that shit on the back burner because my mom was sick. You know what I'm saying? And it took me till this year. Finally, I said, fuck it. My uncle, he a personal trainer. He kept pushing me for years. Like, Neff, go get that, John. I got you. Don't worry about it. I'm like, all right, uncle, I'm just bullshitting. And I finally did it. It took me a while. You know what I mean? And part of the reason is just because, like, with trauma, when it comes to my mom, it takes a real toll on me. And certain things that I had plans to do, I haven't done, is because of those events that I experienced from nearly losing my mother twice. So I'm just like, all right, well, maybe I wasn't meant to be doing that right about now, whatever. And I just put it all on the back burner and I forget about it.
Let me tell you something about moms, bro. And this goes to Melissa. Shout out to Melissa Guerrero, Steven's wife. Shout out to my wife that she's right here. Mothers are the men's foundation.
Yeah.
If you were and if you're a mother that's fucked up, most likely your son's gonna come fucked up. Or like your significant other likes to tell you got mommy issues. A lot of my trust and relationship it's falls down to my mother. Right? I've never had the best relationship with my mother. Shit. A couple of years ago, I just started feeling like, that if my mother will pass, I would die. I feel I would die. I just started feeling that. Right. And, a lot of years I judged her and we had our battles. I've told her, you want to be at peace with me or you want to be at war with me? Which one? I've given her that ultimatum. That's how ugly it has become. But yeah, I'm blessed, right? It took me to become a husband and become a father to be able to understand the decision making she had to do. Fucking my father got shot. The FBI took everything from her. She was left with nothing, but she's 2 kids. She used to get on a bus with 2 toddlers to go 8-hour drive to go see my father in prison, to get there and not go in because he had his side bitch visiting him. and he didn't care to inform somebody was there. So that's two toddlers. With me, that was already a handful. Just me alone, right? Drive 8 hours back, do it, and continue with her life, trying to maintain 2 kids, just her in the 90s, right? And like I said, and I apologize, and I hope she can forgive me. I judged her, but she was just like me. She was just a kid who fell in love, like each and one of us fell in love. That we all have trust, and sometimes that the person we trust has let us down, or even inclusive, we let them down. And she was lost, what to do with no support. She was just like me growing up with her fucking mother picking on her, talking shit, And every time she would ask for their help, it's like, fuck, I don't even want to ask for your help. Because if I'm trying to build on my life and you're going to put me to the floor and turn my kids against her, that's what she has to deal through. Right? She fell in love with my third sister's dad that was another piece of shit. And we will go back and forth to jail and visiting that motherfucker. Right? And she was just lost as we were lost from time to time. She did the best that she could. And I'm here growing up, piece of shit, going through my shit, not being able to understand and judging her. But that goes, she had her trauma. I got my trauma. We were both out of age that we could understand what the fuck trauma is. What is mental health?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
How she's gonna help me if she couldn't help herself? How can I help myself if I don't know how to help myself?